Welcome to Module F1.1. In this lesson, we are examining the most significant update to the PMP exam in recent history, the 2026 ECO. Whether you are a first-time candidate or a seasoned project manager returning for recertification, this update affects you directly. Let us dig in. Here is the big picture. Project management in 2026 is fundamentally different from what it was even 5 years ago. The profession has evolved beyond process execution. PMI is now formally testing 3 things that used to be considered soft skills or executive-level concerns. First, value delivery. Did the project actually produce the outcome the business needed? Second, AI and technology. Are you leveraging modern tools to be a smarter project manager? And third, strategic alignment. Is your project connected to where the organization is going? Think of it this way. A project manager who only knows how to build a Gantt chart is like a pilot who only knows how to read a compass. Technically competent, but dangerously incomplete for the modern era. Let me open with the most dramatic statistic in the 2026 ECO update. Domain 3, the business environment, has exploded from just 8% of the exam in 2021 to 26% in 2026. That is more than a quarter of your entire exam score. PMI is sending a clear and unmistakable signal. The days of the project manager who only looks inward, managing their team and schedule in isolation, are over. Today's PM must look outward, at market conditions, compliance requirements, organizational strategy, and long-term business value. This domain is no longer optional. It is mission critical. Let us break down all 3 domains one by one. Starting with domain I, people. In 2021, people was the single largest domain at 42% of the exam. In 2026, that drops to 33%. A reduction of 9 percentage points. This does not mean people skills are less important. It means PMI redistributed that weight toward something new. And as you will see in a moment, every one of those 9 points went somewhere very specific. Now add domain 2, process. In 2021, process was the heavyweight at 50%, literally half the entire exam. In 2026, that drops to 41%, also a 9-point reduction. So both people and process each gave up 9 percentage points. That is a combined total of 18 percentage points that were redistributed. The natural question is, where did they go? The next row answers everything. And there it is. All 18 percentage points went directly to domain 3, business environment, from 8% to 26%. This is not a minor revision. This is a structural transformation of the exam. For candidates, if you skip or skim domain 3 in your study plan, you are voluntarily handing away more than a quarter of your exam score. That is not a study strategy. That is an unacceptable risk. Here's the good news. And a word of caution, the 2026 ECO reduced the total number of tasks from 35 down to 26. On the surface, that sounds simpler, fewer things to learn, right? Not quite. The tasks are broader in scope and deeper in expectation. And for the first time, the ECO formally introduces what PMI calls enablers. Specific real-world examples embedded within each task that you are expected to understand. For instance, it is not enough to know that you should manage risk. The 2026 ECO expects you to know how AI tools are used to identify and assess risk, and how sustainability thinking informs procurement. Fewer tasks, but each one demands more mastery. The 2026 ECO formally places artificial intelligence on the exam, and this is a first. You will need to understand how generative AI tools impact core project management processes, planning, risk identification, stakeholder reporting, and decision-making. Here is the key mental model the exam rewards. AI is your assistant, not your replacement. The human project manager still owns the decisions. AI helps you make them faster and smarter. Think of GPS navigation in a car. It gives you the route and recalculates when conditions change. But you are still driving. You decide whether to take the highway or the back road. Joining AI on the new topics list is sustainability. In the context of the PMP exam, sustainability is not just about carbon footprints or environmental compliance. It means making decisions that preserve long-term value for the organization, for stakeholders, and for the environment. Imagine managing a construction project. A sustainable decision might mean choosing materials that cost slightly more upfront, but dramatically reduce 20-year maintenance costs. In old-school PM, that upfront cost looks bad on a budget report. In a sustainability-aware mindset, it is a smart investment, and the 2026 exam rewards that thinking. And the third pillar of new content is value-driven delivery. This one reframes the entire purpose of a project. We are no longer just asking, did we finish on time and on budget? We are asking, did this project actually deliver the business value it was supposed to? Classic example. A software team delivers a feature exactly on schedule and within budget. But during the project, the market shifted and the business no longer needs that feature. In traditional PM, that is a success. In a value-driven framework, that is a failure because no real value was delivered. The 2026 exam wants you to think like a business partner, not just a task manager. Keep that framing in mind throughout your studies. Let us talk about how the exam tests your project management approach, specifically the methodology mix. In 2021, the PMP exam struck an almost perfect balance, approximately 50% predictive, your classic waterfall, sequential project management, and 50% agile and hybrid approaches. This was already a significant shift from earlier exam versions, which were almost entirely waterfall-dominated. PMI made a bold move in 2021 by embracing Agile at scale. But in 2026, that shift goes even further. In 2026, the balance tips further to approximately 40% predictive and 60% agile and hybrid. Here's the practical implication. If you are a pure waterfall project manager, someone who lives and breathes Gantt charts, formal change control boards, and sequential phase gates, you must expand your mindset before sitting this exam. If you are already comfortable with agile frameworks like Scrum or Kanban, you have a meaningful head start, but everyone needs to be fluent in hybrid approaches, because that is how the majority of real-world projects actually operate. Pure waterfall and pure agile are the extremes. The exam lives in the middle. Let us now cover how the exam questions are actually formatted. In 2021, PMI used 5 distinct question types. In 2026, that number expands to 8. 2 of these formats are completely brand new, and several are only available if you are testing on a computer, not on a paper-based exam. Knowing these formats in advance is not trivial. Encountering a drag-and-drop question or a graphic-based scenario for the first time on exam day costs you time and adds unnecessary stress. Let us walk through all 8, one by one. The first format, and it is brand new in 2026, is the case or scenario question. Think of this as a mini case study. You are given a detailed project scenario, often including graphs or charts, and then asked multiple related questions based on that single scenario. This format tests integrated thinking. You cannot just recall an isolated definition. You must analyze the whole situation and apply multiple PMP concepts simultaneously. This is the closest the exam gets to simulating a real project decision. It rewards candidates who see the big picture, not just those who memorize bullet points. Question type 2 is enhanced matching. Unlike a basic matching exercise, this format is enhanced with visual context. You are shown a diagram or image and must drag specific items to their correct positions on that visual. Important. This question type is only available on CBT, computer-based testing. If you registered for a paper-based format, you will not encounter it. But if you are testing digitally, practice your drag-and-drop confidence before exam day. Surprise slows you down. Third, and also brand new, is the graphic-based question. Here, the question itself is anchored to a visual. You are given a chart, a graph, a diagram, or an image, and you must interpret that visual information to answer correctly. This directly reflects the 2026 emphasis on data literacy and AI-generated reporting. A modern PM must be able to look at a performance dashboard or a burn-down chart and make a real decision from it. This question type tests exactly that skill, extracting meaning from visual data, not just from written text. Number 4 is the format most candidates already know: multiple choice, single response. One question, multiple options, one correct answer. Most familiar from other professional certifications. But here's the PMP twist. In most multiple-choice questions on this exam, 2 or even 3 answers will seem correct. PMI is not testing whether you know a right answer. They are testing whether you identify the best answer given the specific scenario. Context is everything here. Type 5 is multiple response, and this trips up a lot of candidates. The prompt will tell you how many answers to select. You must identify 2 or more correct options. Here is the danger. Some exam platforms award 0 points if you do not select all of the correct answers. No partial credit. So read the instruction carefully. If it says select TDO, choose exactly 2. Precision matters as much as knowledge here. Type 6 is point and click, a computer-based only format. You are shown an image containing hidden hotspot areas. To answer, you click the correct location within that image. Imagine being shown an organizational chart and asked, click on the person with authority to approve this change request. That level of precision is what this type demands. It tests whether you can apply PMP concepts to a visual context, not just recall text. CBT only. Type 7 is matching, distinct from enhanced matching. You see 2 columns of items and drag from the first column to pair with the correct item in the second column. A typical example. Match each project management approach, Scrum, Kanban, Waterfall, SAFe, to its primary defining characteristic. This rewards candidates who have genuine understanding, not just surface memorization. If you truly know the difference between a sprint backlog and a Kanban board, this question type is actually a gift. CBT only. The 8th and final format is the pull-down list, also CBT exclusive. You see a sentence with a blank embedded inside it. Select the correct word or phrase from the drop-down menu within that sentence. Example: when a project has a schedule variance that threatens the delivery date, the most appropriate initial response is. You choose from options like crash the schedule, fast-track the critical path, or re-baseline the plan. That covers all 8 question types. Make sure your study plan includes practice with every format, especially if you are sitting a CBT exam. Here is your at-a-glance comparison of the 2021 ECO versus the 2026 ECO. 5 dimensions of change on one table. Take a screenshot or bookmark this slide. It is a great reference to return to during your study sessions. Notice the consistent theme across every row. The 2026 exam is smaller in quantity, but larger in depth. Fewer tasks, more weight on each. Business environment was a footnote. Now it is a major pillar. Question formats have expanded, and the methodology balance has tilted decisively toward agile and hybrid. This is your new map. Study accordingly. Before we close, here is the single most important exam tip I can give you, and I want you to really internalize this. The 2026 PMP is not a memorization exam. It is a judgment exam. The vast majority of scenario-based questions will present you with multiple options, 2 or 3 of which will seem correct. Your job is to pick the best one, and PMI's definition of best is very specific. Best means the option that prioritizes stakeholder value, demonstrates proactive rather than reactive behavior, respects ethical standards, and, where appropriate, blends predictive rigor with agile flexibility. If you have been working in agile environments, you likely already think this way. If you are coming from a structured waterfall background, invest time in practicing agile scenario thinking. That mindset shift is often the difference between a passing score and a failing one. Let us close with 3 clear, actionable implications for your study plan. The first and most urgent: do not ignore Domain 3. Business environment now represents 26% of your exam score. It is not a bonus section. It is not something you skim at the end. Practically, build your study schedule to dedicate at least a quarter of your total preparation time to Domain 3 content, strategic alignment, organizational governance, compliance frameworks, and business value analysis. These are now core PMP competencies. The second implication is, think hybrid. The exam will not ask, is this project agile or waterfall? Real projects and real exam scenarios blend both. You might have a fixed scope phase followed by iterative sprints. You might use Kanban for team execution, but a formal WBS for executive reporting. Train yourself to ask, given this specific situation, what is the right blend? That hybrid mindset, knowing when to apply structure and when to embrace flexibility, separates passing candidates from failing ones. And the third implication, embrace technology, specifically artificial intelligence. The 2026 exam expects you to understand how AI tools assist a project manager. Not just that they exist, but when and why a PM would use them and what their limitations are. Think of AI as a highly capable junior team member who processes data, drafts reports, and flags anomalies faster than any human. Your job as the senior PM is to ask the right questions, critically evaluate the output, and make the final strategic call. That is the mindset the 2026 exam rewards: human judgment, amplified by intelligent tools. And with that, we have covered everything in Module F1.1. In the next lesson, we go deeper into Domain 3, the business environment. See you there.